Hello everyone, thanks for joining. Today I'm going to run you through a couple of different displays and how I set up for my Suncatchers. And this is basically for street fair displays and as well as could be used for retail. I just wanted to kind of give you an insight on how I do it, what you can do, and how simple it is to get these designs set up. Here I go, I'm going to run through everything really quick, and then at the end I'm going to show you exactly how it is that I set these up. Okay, so I have finished setting everything up, and I just want to run over a couple of these things that I've actually used for the display. So as you can see right here, I've got a couple of different hooks. I've got this hook and this hook, which this one here, it's a plastic hook and it really hangs on to the rod quite well. It's like a tight cling to it. And the bottom of it actually has this little nub on here. Let me see if I can adjust it. So if you are hanging your Suncatcher on there, somebody can't just unhook and take the Suncatcher off without kind of making a scene of trying to pull it off of the rod, so to speak. And then these hooks here, I like them. They're curtain rod hooks, and they've basically got a latch there, so that keeps people from being able to just kind of take them as well. Unfortunately, we do have to think this way when something's kind of hanging in their faces, because people will look and just kind of all of a sudden you've got one disappearing. So these are just a few little steps to prevent anybody thinking that that's okay and easy to do. So anyways, so here's what I've set up. This is a curtain rod here. I've got pulleys. The pulleys here to the top of the tent so that I can adjust it, and then I've just simply rigged it around my curtain rod pole. This is really strong, it's metal. You want to make sure you use something fairly heavyweight, or at least solid, so that it doesn't, buckle under the width that you end up expanding it up to. So that's one display there. I've got two of them set up, so that's kind of my example of different ways that you can hook it up to the tent. You can go crossbar wise and just rest it on there and then rig it up on the edge of the tent here and here. Or you can simply hang them from the adjustable pulleys. And which I do like because they, like I said, they're kind of more in your face versus being up really high, and sometimes people will miss seeing things that are up really high. So, but if you do a combination of those, obviously it flows through, so you'd be able to see both. This is another example of hook that I use. So it's still a curtain rod hook, I believe, and it's got the clamp on it. I like that because it does hold it really well, so when you get wind or somebody accidentally pulls it, it won't come off right away. And I do use greenery. I try to just kind of lighten up that rod. Sometimes the rod is a little bit boring. I didn't hook this one up very well, but anyways, you get the point. I would do it more like this, kind of straight across the rod, make it look really nice. And that also, like when you've got your little price tags up in here, it just kind of keeps it a little bit more discreet, but still they're hanging there if people wish to look at it. Here's another example of a display. So I've had this one for a bit, but I do use it quite often, especially for a tabletop display. I can put extra Suncatchers that are already completed in the basket there, and then hang however many I want on the top. Works really well, but some of these you really have to watch for because of how stable they are. You don't want to put too many crystals on anything, and you don't want to put them too close, because if the wind rocks your tent, or somebody hits the tent, or the wind is blowing, it's just all these unruly things can kind of make those crystals move around and crack together, and that's the last thing you want. So anyways, back to the display here. Here's another one. This is a board display. It's basically a foam padded board. I have found all of these things at thrift stores. Basically, I just go and try and, secondhand all of my displays as best as possible and still make sure that they look perfect. And I think this is another fine example of how you can display things. So if you don't have, sorry, my fingers blurred it out, but if you don't have the option of hanging something necessarily and you're restricted to a tabletop for a display, this is a very perfect way to pin those Suncatchers on, and you can kind of look at the different ways that I've done the design there, or kind of straight across, crisscross up and down and whatnot. Just one thing to note, that for me in the design that I make, those little charms here lay on the back side, so they tend to kind of almost be hidden. My favorite type of display is to have them hanging and free hanging. You get the full effect, and then the charm here is for sure going to hang exactly straight. And anyways, I think it just looks better when they're spinning around and giving that sparkle. When they stay put, they just don't give that character right away necessarily, but this here, it catches the eye. The customer is going to be walking by and see something sparkle in their face, so it's perfect. These are a few of the other things that I sell. So when I'm making my displays, I have other products, and I just make sure and kind of mix it up. Not everybody wants the resin art, but I figure if people see the combination, sometimes you can just stick a Suncatcher in the box and it makes a perfect little gift. Anyway, so that's it pretty much. I'm literally in my backyard, so any noises and any other things that you might have heard, it's a quieter setup here in my yard, I figured, than at the actual street fair when I go to set up, because there's such a hustle and bustle, and there's no way I could explain all of this stuff in the way that I could here in my yard. So I hope you enjoyed this video, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you have questions about any of those types of displays, hit me up, leave them below, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed this. All right, thanks again, bye.